I want to go in on my topic now for the last 20 minutes. The true black supremacist must be invincible. Words like invincible shake people up. What do you mean invincible? Is that even realistic to become invincible as a human being? We hear stories about them being in war. The Haitians, we talk about the Haitian Revolution. And we talk about soldiers with stories of becoming invincible in their war against France, against the French. That they became bulletproof. We talk about Liberia and rituals that they did in Liberia when they were fighting to become invincible in war. One of the soldiers' name was Butt Naked, and he talked about how he became rituals he did to become invincible. Now, I don't condone the rituals that he did. I'm just talking about invincibility. I'm sure there are multiple ways to become invincible. We're dealing with this thing of invincibility. In Haiti, invincibility, they used voodoo and did certain rituals to become invincibles. We talk about Jamaica. We talk about Nettie and the Maroons and how she became invincible. There's so many stories of invincibility. So what do I say when I say the true black supremacist is invincible? Even though we have this type of physical invincibility that we can tap into doing warfare and confrontation, moment to moment, time to time, we can tap into this type of physical invincibility that takes us beyond harm. A lot of us have been in situations where we felt like we almost was invincible to survive these situations. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Many of us know who have lived in the hood, who've been through some scenarios and some situations. We know that there is a physical invincibility that exists, that one can tap into. But tonight on this show, I want to talk about invincibility from a multidimensional perspective. And I want to talk about the ego and its relationship to invincibility and how many ways we can be touched, which shows how many ways that we need to become invincible, which is going to give you a deeper perspective of what invincibility is and what the value of invincibility is, the purpose. Why do we even need to be invincible? What does a state of invincibility look like? Because I want to talk about invincible consciousness. Let's start there. Let me define some things, because I know you all use Webster's and Macmillan and Wikipedia and all that, so let me drop some definitions on you. To be invincible, the state of invincibility for a black supremacist is where they can be things, they can have many experiences, many situations and circumstances can come at their mentality, can come at their reality, can come at their focus, can come at their meditation, but the black supremacist remains untouched and unmoved, complete in and of themselves, no matter what situations and circumstances occur in their life. They're unmoved. To be invincible is to be non-reactionary from the most deepest place within oneself. I bet y'all never heard that definition of invincibility before. That means that the only thing that any situation, person, or place, or trauma, any confrontation, the only thing that it could ultimately do is change you. Its ultimate result would have to be to change you from a state that you abided in, from the state that you an optimal state, from a state that you wanted to be in, a state that was representative or reflective of your highest beingness. The only thing that it could want to do, the person, the situation, the event, whatever, is change you. So that after this event, this confrontation, this situation, this dilemma, you won't be the same on the other side. So to be invincible, consciously invincible, is to be unchangeable. You can't be changed. In Chicago, the word change means we use change interchangeably with death. When somebody died, they said that person got changed. So to become invincible is to become unchangeable. That means you go through life as a deity. You go through life as a solid person, knowing, coming into the spiritual essence of who you are as a spiritual being having a human experience, or a spiritual beingness experiencing humanness going in. And you come to know this spiritual self, which is enlightenment, which is self-realization. You come to know this deity, this God-like being. Because that's where people's spiritual path has led them into realizing their profound power, realizing the power that lies within them. But then once you get to that epoch of realizing the power that lies within, through, and as you, life begins to challenge you at that particular point, at the highest epoch. And life begins to change you from being one who could stand in that realization of your highest level of being. Situations happen to make you question, doubt, or take a different position about being the deity that you are, about being the divine that you are. Chipping away at this strong disposition, this posture. Life chips away at it if it can. Makes you act other than, react in a way that is other than you being solid in your own state of divinity. It chips away. It attacks it. But by the black supremacists must be invincible, meaning that they don't change. They're not reactionary. They are not superficial or contingent upon situations and circumstances. Non-affected, unintimidated, undisturbed, unmoved. Do you feel me? So when I talk about insensibility, I'm talking about a state of consciousness. The worst thing that can happen to you through anything that you could ever go through, or any situation or circumstance you can confront, is that you're changed. You can be changed. Mentally, spiritually, your disposition can be changed. You know, when they got people, they say that this person has been broken. What broke them? Who and what in them was broke? When you become invincible, you are making a commitment to be unbreakable. You are getting a posture, a pose that is unbreakable, flexible, but solid, like an ice pack. I'm going in with this. You must become invincible. But you can't become invincible if who you are is dependent on what is going on outside of you. Because that's the quickest way to be changed. If your strength is not coming from within, you are definitely going to be changed from without. Let me repeat this. If your strength is not coming from within you, the outside world ain't going to do nothing but change you. Strength comes from within, weakness is let in from without. Strength is behind the door, weakness opens the door and let it all in. Change the whole house. Interior decoration. Change the whole feng shui up. The invincible selfhood, the invincible state of consciousness is the most efficient feng shui of one's inner decor. When you become in an invincible state, it is an invincible compassion. That means nothing anybody do that is selfish, that appears to be wrong, even evil, can change one iota of your compassionate stance and position. You have invincible compassion. It cannot be changed because it comes from within to affect what is going on without. The invincible are not looking for an excuse in the world or justification from the world to be who they are. That's how you get hit. The invincible are coming from within themselves, giving something that cannot be disturbed by the world. The invincible are bringing something from within themselves, giving something that cannot be disturbed by the world. It is not justified by the world, so it cannot be unjustified by the world. It's not validated by the world, so it cannot be invalidated by the world. You follow? All the world could do is see the glory and the independence and self-sufficiency and the sublime sovereignty of what it is. All the world could do is just bear witness to it and experience it. Can't change it. It can't affect it. It's like the God they say of the scriptures. The same yesterday, the same today, and the same tomorrow. Everlasting to the never-ending days to come, as it says in the Moorish Quran. Changeless. Truth changes not. Reaching that sovereign and self-sufficient state within one's own being, where one becomes intentional, not reactionary, not contingent, not predicated on, but intentional. To be intentional, one must be complete within themselves to have intention. If you're not totally in a state of completeness yourself, you can't even have an intention. Your intentions will be disrupted, interrupted. So to become invincible, one must come from a place within themselves that is unreachable by any of the machinations of this world. The pain, the suffering, the sadness, the anger, none of this world can reach that place to disturb how who you are can continue to regenerate themselves and come from that place. Nothing can change or break down that. So I'm talking about this spiritual invincibility. A lot of people are hurt and hurt by this and hurt by that, and this affects what they're going to do, and how they're hurt by this affects who they are, and how people give to them or taken from them affects what they're going to do, and how people are going to respond to them affects who they're going to be, and how people act affects how they're going to behave, and they got to prove themselves to a world. They have not become invincible. See, those who are invincible don't care about what is going on in the world, what the world is doing, how low-spirited and undisciplined and undeveloped those are in the world. The invincible don't care about that because they're going to go on being invincible no matter what. They're going to go on being strength and go on being the example of invincible compassion, strength, power, love. They're going to go on being that. They can't help but to. Because on the other side of invincibility, there's like not too many gray areas. It's weakness. This is you either going to be weak or you're going to be invincible. See, the invincible got hit just like everybody else. You think the weak just think they're the only one that's been hit. The weak believe that they're the only one that has had challenges. The weak believe they're the only one that went through some shit. The weakness is they're the only one that been lied to. They're the only one been stolen from. That they're the only one been cheated. That they're the only one been deceived. That they think they're the only one. But they got another thing coming because the invincible has went through everything they have and more. And on the other side of everything they went through, there's still this invincible compassion, selfhood, the untouchable. There's still the unmoved mover. The unmoved mover is still there. Complete, perfect witness, whose witness is exemplification of solidness, of solidity. I'm teaching today. We're complaining because we've not become invincible. We're reacting because we've not become invincible. We're upset. We're reacting too because we haven't reached that invincible level. We're meditating, but we're not becoming invincible in our meditation. We're reacting, we're spazzing out. We're not invincible. When you become invincible, all the reaction is gone. You're steady, you're solid. Because if you could choose to be in a state all the time of peace and harmony and repose, if you could choose to be in that, wouldn't you? But the only way you could remain in such a state is if you was invincible. And the only thing that can prove that you are not in that state is how you react to things that you appear to be going around you. It's how you use the world as justification for what you're going to be. Because you have not been invincible enough to be the world that you want to create. To be the change, as Mahatma Gandhi said, to be the change you want to see in the world, with the world trying to change you into what it is and remind you of what it is, then you would have to be invincible because the world is here to remind you of what it is right now, its own agenda about what it is right now. The world wants to stay alive. The pain and suffering and hurt and victimization and all, it wants to stay alive. It wants to live. And it's trying to change you into accepting that it is inevitable, unavoidable, and inescapable, and you must give into it to where the victim does not become the victor, but becomes the victimizer. Where the victim learns from his victimization and becomes the victimizer and not ever achieve victory over its situations and circumstances, because the victorious will be invincible, because they'll never be able to be a victim again. If you ascend beyond the victimization, you can only become invincibly victorious. You become an example of how people cannot be affected and no longer have justification to be the fool, to be reactionary. No more excuses. To take on the energies of that which one is not in agree with, to become the person that one does not like, that one does not agree with, to take on the energies of that, to avoid taking on the energies of that, one would have to become invincible. And the true black supremacist must be invincible and is invincible. And that's how we can change the world. Because we can be unaffected by it long enough to present and exemplify something else to it. We can show how you don't have to be broken down by it. The last 60 seconds of the show, if you listen on live stream, make sure you call in now. 646-716-9305. Call in on 2 phones if you can, so you don't get kicked off. Skype, Magic Jack, Google Voice, landline, telepathy. You can go back in the archives and hear the remainder of the show after the live stream. I thank all you all in the live stream for listening. Black supremacy. But let me continue the show. Becoming invincible. The invincibility of the black supremacists. The invincible are fearless. Not because they don't believe that they can be physically attacked, or feel physical pain, but because they know that on the other side of the pain, on the other side of the attack, that they will be complete and the same, with the same principles and integrity that they had on the other side. So even though you may have physically attacked them, physically come at them, or spiritually and emotionally attack them, on the other side of that attack, they are completely what they were before the attack, untouched, unharmed, and unbroken, invincible. And now they can teach you a lesson. Because in the presence of the invincible, the weak no longer have an excuse. If you can take these blows, then what's the excuse for continue to giving them? Because they're giving them because they couldn't take the ones they got. Right? They're giving blows because they couldn't take the one that life dished out to them. So now they're going to go out and give blows. And when they see that you can take all of the blows, then you remove their excuse to continue to do out blows, because they see that blows can be taken. So the invincible teach the weak. The only cure for the weak, for the vulnerable, is in the example of the invincible. But your ego can't be in this world. You can't have an ego of this world and be invincible. You can't look for validation from this world and be trying to prove yourself to people in this world and prove who you are, and based on how people act and how people behave, and that be the circumference of your reality, and think you're going to be invincible. No. You got to come from within yourself with your commitment to be who you are no matter what. You must find this resolve within yourself. And in that resolve will be your invincibility. That's your bliss. People be like, well, why are you so happy all the time? Why are you so happy and you don't seem to be bothered by nothing, and all this stuff is going on and you happy, and your answer to them is because I'm invincible. A lot of us want to be happy, but our desire for happiness is a requirement of invincibility. Do you realize that to become happy as a person, you're going to have to become invincible? That means you ain't going to let nothing mess up or destroy your happiness. Because you got happiness. We were born with happiness. We just let the world chip away at it. Our happiness was our innocence. We let the world keep breaking it off and give us justification to not be happy, give us excuses. So if you want happiness, you got to become invincible. You got to stop being affected by the world, the illusions of this world, by the behavior of others, what they do, their limitations. To be invincible, you got to not be affected by it. And to be invincible, you got to know what you are beyond the illusion of that which can be destroyed. Let me repeat that. To be invincible, you got to know who and what you are beyond that which can be destroyed. There's a you that is beyond anything that can be destroyed. And you got to find that you. People talk about they want the knowledge of self and they want to know who they are, but they don't want to find the invincible self. See, the ancient self, the most ancient of days, the most ancient identity to have lived this long, to be perpetuating itself through the consciousness of beings that are here, to reincarnate for that spiritual identity and selfhood of who we were to continue to be, it would have to be invincible, in the most invincible aspect and dimension of who we are. It would have to be that. Are you coming to know that? Are you just knowing a statue or a relic, a book, a DVD? Are you coming into the knowledge of the invincible you, the eternal you, the you that wrote it on the walls, and the you that's reading it off the walls is the same eternal and invincible you? Can we extract from that invincibility and pull it into our present moment right now and stand in that invincibility with situations and circumstances that are happening in our lives? To be invincible is to know that you are not what is happening to you. There is a difference between you and what is happening to you. You are beyond this world as a spiritual being experiencing this world. there's a you that is not affected by anything that is happening in this world. And that you attaches itself to this body, to the situations, to the circumstances, to the perceptual framework, to the paradigm, to the conceptions, to the ideologies, to the philosophies. There's a you that connect yourself to it. And there's a you beyond it. The you beyond it is invincible. And it can dictate and override the physical situations in its invincibleness. Y'all don't hear me? It's a you that can override, supersede, and intervene in the physical situations in your life, the negative thought patterns, the physical conditions, the health conditions. There's a you that can supersede and intervene in those situations if you're aware of it. Because you're in this world, but you're not of this world. That's why you can affect the world. Some of us, who we think we are, is completely of the world. It's of other people's perceptions and of other people's rules and regulations and what they believe and their perceptions and their definitions about what is and what could be and what this means and all. We are of that world. We in and of it. Part of us, that's that spiritual us that is beyond the world, that can step in and intervene with different energies, that can turn our own illusion of sadness into happiness, that can turn our own situation of lack into prosperity, they can turn our own situation of insanity to complete sanity. There's us that can do that. Once you realize this aspect of yourself, you can't keep going to war with this material. You can't keep being mad in this material world. You can't keep having strife with your own people. You can't keep being a roller coaster, up and down, back and forth. You can't be this once you tap into this invincible you, because the you that is a roller coaster. Okay, I'm back. I just had to little technical difficulties. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm back. And talking about this invincibility, many of you thought I was just going to be talking about physical invincibility, which comes along with it, because you can become, once you tap into this invincibility within yourself, which is transcendental, which is a transcendental state, then you gain the integrity and fortitude physically, a higher fortitude physically. So you achieve a state of physical invincibility. Let me open up the lines in the last few minutes of the show. I just want to open up the lines. 803, you still there?
Peace, yeah, I heard what you're saying. Yeah, peace. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I heard what you were saying. Yeah, I agree. I agree with it. You got to stay steadfast in your mission. You know what I'm saying? Unchangeable, unmovable. You know, I think you gave more context to what invincibility is and how to achieve that. So, you know what I'm saying? I was listening to you. You know what I'm saying? I like what you were saying in that.
Life situations seek to change us. That's what white terrorism about, and the fear tactics change us from being as strong and as solid about what we know to be right and our ability to change it and our right to change it. Our invincibility is our true state of self-righteousness. Our true state of self-righteousness. I'm not talking about the egotistical self-righteousness, where we talking about, you know, judging somebody else based upon some religious scriptures. I'm talking about one's own self-righteousness, where one is absolutely clear within themselves. The enemy seeks to change us. And our lack of invincibility is our belief that through some type of situation or circumstance that we could possibly be changed. And we cannot be changed at the essence of our being. We can only be changed on a superficial level. So to be changed, to be able to be changed, is to only know yourself on a superficial level. But if you know the essence of who you are, you know that of which cannot be changed, and you pull power and energy from the unchangeable aspect and dimension of yourself. That's invincibility. That you have the endurance to come to know the invincible you. That you can make it through the illusions to come to know yourself invincibly. Because if you have a commitment to being unstopped, unchanged, then you will come to know the invincible you, the true black supremacist. 917